Hello. Good evening. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ciara Considine and I'm an editor at Hachette Books Ireland, and very delighted to be here to welcome you here this evening for the launch of Brian Finnegan's first novel, The Forced Redundancy Film Club. I hope you can hear me okay there. It's no surprise to see a great crowd out because, as we all know, Brian is one of the most popular and gregarious fellows that you're ever likely to meet. And he's just so nice. And I'm really proud to have worked on his first book, not least because myself and Brian go back a long way. I count myself as one of his top 50 best friends, as many of you here will also. And I know that novel writing has been a long-held ambition within Brian's sights for some years, and so it was really especially nice to be able to see that coming into fruition over the past few years. Now, there's no doubt that Brian knows a good concept when he stumbles upon one, and he also has a great love of film. So those two things are combined in this book. But, of course, a novel to stand up and make a great read takes a lot of different elements coming into alignment, and I would just like to congratulate Brian tonight on bringing those things into alignment so wonderfully. He has created a great story with 5 characters who we will all recognise in various different ways. And as you might expect, it is just the tonic for austere times. So I would say read it and smile. And if you weep at the bit where it asks you to weep towards the end, I promise it'll be the right kind of tears. So Brian, on behalf of my colleagues at Hachette Books Ireland, Breda, Ciara, Siobhan, Joanna, and all the team, congratulations on publishing your first novel. We're very proud to work with you. It's been lovely to work with you. So it's a kind of a special evening this evening. Another great love of Brian's is music, and all these wonderful movies featured in the book have, of course, soundtracks that we all recognise. And we're delighted this evening to have Maggie, Breheny, a good friend of Brian's, to sing a few songs for us, accompanied by Cian Boyland. Where are they? So just between the speechy bits, what can we do?
Over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Why, oh why can't
Thank you so much, Maggie and Cian. It was beautiful. And before I introduce you to a very special woman who's kindly agreed to launch Brian's book this evening, I just want to mention, because I'll be killed by my boss otherwise, that the book is for sale, in case you didn't notice on your way in. 50 copies. So we would obviously encourage you to buy a copy, and please tell your friends, because word of mouth is very important to these things. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to a wonderful woman, Anne Gildea.
Oh my God, you know, when you're asked to come and do something like launch a book, Brian, I didn't know, like, how do you launch a book? Do you get rockets and strap it to the book and set them off? I don't know. But I just want to say congratulations. And when I picked up this book and I read this, I couldn't believe it. She had class. Not the kind that came with money and grooming, even though she was always perfectly turned out, but the kind that was inbred. A heightening of the chin, a lifting of the cheekbones, the delicate movements of her long fingers, a general holding of herself that made her a cut above the average Jane. I read that and I thought, oh my God, Brian, I can't believe you put me in a book. And then today, just walking around my flat, was thinking, what do I want to say about Brian? I was just trying to think of the appropriate adjectives. There's so many. Loyal, generous, caring, perceptive, intelligent, genuinely funny, joyous, deep, probably embarrassed now. Because we're both from Sligo, and as I always say in the Nulas, you know, we're not very emotional in Sligo. Like, nobody'd ever come straight out and say, I love you, you know. They'd just imply it by crying a lot when you died. I tell you what I really love about Brian is that he has got this amazing sense of fun combined with this incredible intelligent depth, and they're just so close together, aren't they, Miguel? There's Miguel. Does everybody know Miguel, his boyfriend? Can I tell you about Miguel? We used to, long before he ever met Brian, we were in the same spinning class. And I coveted him. And I think that shows why I'm single. Gator! No! My dad has this saying, one of nature's gentlemen. And Brian, you are one of nature's gentlemen. And I cannot tell you, I cried when he phoned up and he said, will you launch the book for me? I just feel so privileged to do this. I first met Brian 17 years ago when he interviewed the Nulas. Sue, do you remember? We had just formed, and it was our first interview ever. And he met us in the Elephant and Castle, and he gave us these monikers that stayed with us. Sue was no-nonsense Nula, I was upbeat Nula, and Tara was bossy Nula. Perceptive, like I said. No, that was a joke. And then, do you remember this, Brian? Years later, when Karen had joined us, we went down to Cork with Adrian Murphy to work on a sitcom together. And it was the most wonderful week. It taught me that the important thing about creativity is the process. It's not the final product. Of course, it is important, and you want people to buy it and everything. But that was such a wonderful week. And this is one of my key images of Brian when I think of Brian Finnegan. We went for a walk, and there's this ancient stone circle near where Adrian's parents' bungalow is. And we said we should do a little ceremony to kind of eke along positivity on the project. So we had to come up with a word, a chant word. And I think it was you, Brian, came up with the word Moctus, which is sitcom backwards. And there we are in the middle of November dancing around, Muctus, 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 Muctus. And then the fucking thing never happened. But I was thinking about this, and I think that the reason is that the Stones probably heard laid coob, which is book deal backwards. And, there's this saying that I love: writing is easy. All you need to do is sit down, stare at a blank sheet of paper until drops of blood form on your forehead. And I think it's important to remember that when you see a work like this. I mean, the work that went into this is phenomenal. I did a whole pressay of it, but I'm not going to... I mean, the characters are amazing. What I loved about it... I'm going to finish up quickly. But what I loved about it was the way you've got 5 major narratives in here, and he weaves them together so seamlessly. It's wonderful. And you find yourself... This is the proof of the pudding for me. You find yourself mulling over the characters for days afterwards. Particularly that character of Martin. I was just wondering, Brian, is he based on anybody real? And would you have his phone number? But it is. It's wonderful, and it's got all the lovely humour in here. And I'll just finish up on this. It's one bit I loved in the book, like a typical exchange. I'll just find it here in the 380-page book that when Harry Met Sally is about much more than a guy trying to get a girl into bed. It's about women being from Venus and men being from Mars, Martin said. You could say that about any romantic comedy, Alice said. Unless it's a gay romantic comedy, said Jamie, which would be all about men being from Mars and other men being from Mars. It's just full of that amazing warmth. I loved it. I really, really loved this book, and I think that what I really liked about it is the positive message, which is, anybody who knows you would know that that's there, and that huge heart in it. And I think what it's about is about, at the end of the day, about in straitened times, people needing each other. And you've got this quote at the very beginning from It's a Wonderful Life. Remember, no man is a failure who has friends. And I think you live by that. You're wonderful. You're definitely not a failure, Brian. Put it that way. You're definitely not. This book is wonderful. It's big-hearted. It's delightful. It's just fantastic, like you, Brian. I'm honoured to be here. I just want to say, to launch the book, can we all give him a big hip, hip? Hooray! Hip, hip? Hooray! Hip, hip? Hooray! Well done, Brian.
Thank you so much, Anne. Well spoken, and I hope it's okay to mention this, but as many of you will also know, Anne is a really fine writer too, and we're really delighted that we're going to be publishing a book by her early next year. So. It's just a big in club. So Maggie is going to sing us another song now.
And
And now for the star of the evening, welcome to the stage, please, Brian Finnegan.
I'm just going to sing a few songs. I hope you don't mind, and I'm going to tell you about all my whole life. I'm going to be here for about an hour and a half. I had a very difficult childhood. Thank you, Anne Gildea, for such a wonderful speech and introduction, and thanks, of course, to my good friend Ciara. Anne, I remember dancing around that circle to Moctus. I also remember diving into freezing cold water in November, and it's lucky we're still alive. And I also remember we wrote Moctus in this condensation on a window in Adrian's parents' house in West Cork, and it was there for the whole weekend, mock sitcom written backwards, and we should have known it was an omen. But we remain great friends, Anne and Sue and Karen, and me and Adrian and many people that are involved in that. So also thank you to Maggie, who is one of my oldest friends in Sligo, and she sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow when we were very young on the stage at the Hawkswell Theatre. And I designed the sets, and they fell down. Those poor munchkins. When I was 14, I told my best friend, Olivia Carthy, who can't be here tonight, but I told her that I wanted to be a writer when I grew up. It's taken me quite a long time to grow up. And, excuse me, helping me grow up was Hachette Ireland. I want to thank everyone in Hachette Ireland who've kind of stood behind me with this book and really believe in this book. And when I got it back from the printer and it arrived in, it was a real live book in the flesh that I could smell. And it had Hachette Ireland on the side of it. And Hachette Ireland are the biggest publisher in Ireland, and they're a global publisher, which is, you know, immense for me to have that book out there with that name on the side of it. So I'm really proud, and thank you to Breda and Margaret and Ciara, the two Ciaras, and Joanna and everyone in Hachette. I hope I haven't left anyone else out. So the quote on the inside of the jacket, I keep having to think how to stand on my tippy toes because I'm very small. She knows how to use mics. So anyway, the quote on the inside of the book that Anne mentioned, which is from It's a Wonderful Life, and that quote, you know, remember, no man is a failure who has friends. And that quote comes at the end of It's a Wonderful Life, which is one of my favourite films of all time, and it's also the last film in this book. And it's said to a man who has lost his faith in humanity and in life because he's been screwed by capitalism. He's lost all his money. And it's written by an angel, and it's a saving line. It saves his life because he's surrounded by friends who come and save him in his hour of need. So that's what the book is about. You know, it's set into a session, there's 5 characters, but beneath it and below it is the idea that we are going through a hard time, but we live on, and we have our friends, and we have wonderful times with our friends, and we have great memories, and we have, you know, life is about that. It's about joy, and it's about celebration, and it's not about the euro, really, and it's not about the household charge, really. Although the important things in real life remain, and they are family and their friendship. Excuse me. So I want to thank many of my great friends for being here. I'd love to mention you all, but I'm so incredibly popular I can't remember your names. Suffice to say that you know who you are and you know how much you mean to me. There are many of my family here, my parents, my brothers and sister, my aunts, uncles, cousins, second cousins, and of course my son Colin, who's right there at the front, smiling with huge pride. And when I was writing this, I was just thinking, to me, family and friendship are mixed up together. My family are my friends, and my friends are my family. I've had such great support from everyone, from my family and my friends in writing this book, and such a positivity around its publication, such amazing messages of support and love, and I really, really appreciate it. It means a huge amount to me. I'm a very lucky man. Thank you all for coming, but your work is not over. I have jobs for you. Rule number 1, you are not to loan this book to anyone. If you like it, and you don't have to, but you kind of have to, keep it, and then tell everyone you know to buy it. If you could tell 500 people this week to buy it, it'll go to the top 10 of the bestsellers. If you're on Twitter, tweet. If you're on Facebook, Facebook. And I've got some sandwich boards that I made earlier on for people to carry on Henry Street and George Street and Grafton Street. If you'd like to come and see me afterwards, I also have some megaphones if anybody wants to go to the top of Liberty Hall and say something about the book. Be careful up there. This book is about friendship between work colleagues, and I work a full-time job as well as writing in the mornings, and I love my job. And the reason I love my job is because I love the people I work with, and I really wanted to mention them tonight. They are Conor Wilson, Lisa Connell, Ciara McGrattan, Karen Brady, Fionnuala Healy, and Dave Darcy. They're a great supportive team to work with, and I'm leaving them for a full month next week, or next month, and they're going to have to take over. Because I have another book to write. And I'm near the end of the speech now. It's only 20 more pages. How to thank Miguel. My partner in life and my partner in crime, Miguel Gurney. He's right by my side in every way, really. And he's supported and applauded my every creative endeavour since we met almost 9 years ago at a Sound of Music party at which he was dressed up as a Nazi in hot pants. And I was wearing a curtain. Don't ask. Anyway, he had great legs, so I went for him. And Miguel, apart from the fact that I know you love me, which makes me love you, you make me laugh all the time, and I think that's the secret of our relationship, and it's a very good relationship. My mother used to say to me when I was small, "You're a jewel, Brian, we should have called you Gem," and Miguel, you're my gem. And so to the two most important women in the room. My editor, my friend, my cohort, my mentor, Ciara Considine. The joy of writing this book is that you cared about it as much as I did, and that was a joy for me. And the collaborative process of writing it with you was just amazing. The first part of writing a book is all alone in your bedroom, thinking, God almighty, this is never going to be published, it's crap. And then you have an amazing editor like Ciara, and she helped shape this book, so this book belongs to both of us. And I want you to know how much I love you, and thank you so much. And thanks to flowers for you. This book is dedicated to my mother, Joan. When people still wrote letters, my mother wrote to me in London after I had just come out of the closet, and it was I still have the letter, I've kept it all these years, and it was a very moving letter, a letter of full acceptance and love. And it's signed at the bottom, from your ever-loving mum. And my mother always signed letters, your ever-loving mum. And that really sums up who my mother has been for me. Mum, which has been your constancy, your consistent, unconditional love, your pride in me, your hard work bringing us all up. That made me who I am. I wouldn't be here without you. And this night is dedicated to you as well as the book. So, The night will go on. We have a DJ playing, so I'd like you to stay and have fun. I don't, there's a whole lot of people here, and I think we could have a lot of fun together. And Maggie's going to sing another song, and maybe Ciara will sing after that. Maybe, if she feels like it. It'd be great. Maggie's been singing songs from the films, that are in the book. The last one's from When Harry Met Sally, and the next one is from Breakfast at Tiffany's. And I'd like you to welcome her back to the stage, and I look forward to celebrating the rest of the night with you. Thank you.
Hello again. I'm sorry. We're just gonna. We thought it would be really nice to sing a song from Brokeback Mountain, such a beautiful film, but it's never a good idea to start a song, to introduce a song by saying "In My Defense," but I didn't know it yesterday, so we're a little bit underprepared. But I hope you'll bear with us. It's a lovely song. It's called "A Love That Will Never Grow Old."